So, welcome back to another video. This is TeamOverclocked, and today we're talking about a $500 gaming PC build for February and March 2017. This PC can play all the latest AAA titles like Battlefield 1 and Fallout 4 at 1080p ultra settings at around 60 FPS, and it can run games at 1440p as well if you drop the settings a bit. For a PC of this price, you're getting a lot of performance. Now with the benchmarks out of the way, let's get right into the build. For the CPU, we have the Intel Pentium G4560 for $62. This is a very nice budget CPU with 2 cores coupled with hyper-threading, making it act like a quad core along with a decent clock speed of 3.5 GHz. This is also based on cable-like architecture, so you know you're getting the latest from Intel, and since it has 4 threads, it should be the ideal setup for gaming since most games need 4 threads to function optimally, and it should allow for some lighter video editing if you want to do that as well. Next up for the motherboard, I went with the Gigabyte G2A B250M-DS3H for $74. This is a nice feature-filled motherboard with 4 RAM slots, 6 SATA ports, an M.2 slot along with onboard USB 3 headers. It also has the Intel B250 chipset, so it'll be compatible with the cable-like CPUs without the need to upgrade the BIOS, and you should have everything you need for a good budget gaming PC. Next up for the RAM, I went with the G.Skill Aegis 8GB set for $52. This RAM set is great for gaming since it is a 1x8GB configuration clocked at 2400 MHz. 8GB should be all you need for gaming at the moment, and it should allow for some decent video editing if you are on a budget. Next up for the hard drive, I went with the Seagate Barracuda 1TB drive for $49. This is a nice bang for the buck drive that spins at 7200 RPM and has 64 MB of cache, so speed-wise, it's pretty decent. This should also provide enough storage to store the OS, some documents, along with a pretty decently sized game library, making this a great bang for the buck option. For the graphics card, I went with the MSI Armor RX 480 for $185. This GPU is clocked at a moderate 1.27 GHz, has 4 GB of GDDR5 VRAM, and a TDP of 150 watts. This should be great for gaming at 1080p max settings at around 60 FPS, and it can play some 1440p games at medium to high settings. If you're looking for some better 1440p performance, I'd recommend going with the 8GB model of this GPU, but the 4GB model should be perfect for 1080p gaming. Next up for the case, we have the Deepcool Tesseract for $37. This case has a nice side panel window, some cable management holes, along with a few hard drive bays. It also has a USB 3 port on the front along with some audio jacks and a blue LED fan. You really can't go wrong with this case, especially if you have a blue themed setup. Lastly, for the power supply, I went with the EVGA 500W ATX power supply for $36. For a power supply of this caliber, this is insanely cheap since it is made by the reliable brand EVGA, who put high quality power supply components in even their lower end units. This is also 80+ certified, meaning that 80% of the power from this power supply is going to your PC at all times rather than being turned into heat, which is a problem with lower end cheap power supplies. And to top all of this off, this leaves room for upgrades since this PC only requires 250 watts of power to run, and you should be able to throw in a bigger and better GPU or CPU later on if you're looking to do some upgrading to this PC. So yeah guys, that's all for today. If you liked the video, please go overclock the like button. If you didn't like it, please dislike this video and subscribe for more content like this, and I'll see you guys in the next one.